So I was thinking about Tim Pool recently, which may seem like a weird thing to be thinking about, but let me explain. Um, Tim Pool, for those that are not familiar, and I don't know a ton about him to be fair, he just is a good illustration of the point I'm trying to make. Is a reporter, kind of news journalist, and then I think he also hosts like a YouTube show, maybe a podcast. And he used to be, I think, more kind of liberal leaning, and then over time kind of started to question some things that he thought were coming from the left that he maybe didn't like or just didn't make sense to him. And some might argue he's shifted now to more of the right. I think he would say he's kind of balanced and in the middle, and maybe he is. But you know the clips, at least I see, the things I see shared, not to say that's necessarily representative, seem to be that he's become more focused on questioning and seeing issues with the left and progressives and socialists and things like that. And the reason I've been thinking about him is a concept of what I think is kind of crucial to, I guess, ultimately a good life, is a healthy tension. Healthy tension, I think, is something that should permeate throughout almost everything you do, and all your activities and behaviors and actions, etc., throughout your life. And I say that healthy tension because, I've touched on this in other videos, but we need to constantly be checking and questioning and challenging. Our minds want to fall into a groove of consistency and comfort, and they will gravitate towards that. It will constantly be pulling us towards that. And there's some utility in that. There's some function in that makes sense. And sometimes it's a good thing, but by and large, it's a problem. Simply put, in simple kind of mathematical logical terms, it's inefficient. It doesn't allow us to be objective in our thinking and our analysis. And almost by definition, for me, logically, if you're not fully objective, if you're not fully open-minded and looking at it from different angles to what the truth might actually be, you're likely being ineffective. You're likely never going to get to the right outcome or the better outcome. So that healthy tension is meant to enable that. It's kind of the sign, I would say, for me, that when that healthy tension is there, at least I know that part is good. That's a good thing. If it's not, if things start to get too comfortable, if they start to feel too easy, if I start to feel too strongly about a topic, like this is a definite, and there's not enough of that healthy tension, I want to pull that back. I want it to come back, and I start questioning it, I start going there. So why do I bring up Tim Pool in the beginning as an example of this? Well, I think Tim Pool possibly, and again, I'm making some assumptions here, and I certainly can be wrong, but it's possible that Tim Pool started with that healthy tension, right? He started by saying, hey, I kind of lean left, I like what's happening here, but it's just good hygiene to have a healthy tension and to question. And when he started to see that, when he started to do that, he started to see some things that he genuinely took issue with. And it made him adjust, and it made him question more and kind of learn more, and there were things he didn't like. And he kind of continued down that path and kind of kept moving. And I think it hit a point where the healthy tension went away, is my sense. I think there was a point where it started to feel comfortable and consistent and good and cohesive and all the things our mind is pulling us towards. And arguably by no direct fault of his own, or at least no malicious intent, he fell into that groove. You could think of it almost through the lens of his audience, as you think about it as kind of representative, like an external manifestation of that healthy tension. I don't know this for sure, but for the kind of thought exercise I'm going here, you can imagine the scenario where his audience may have served as that healthy tension at some point. When he first started kind of speaking about the left and issues he saw, he likely was getting support from the right or other just kind of objective people who were looking at it and saw it the way he did, and probably getting some pushback from folks on the left. And I'm sure some on the left agreed with him as well, but there was definitely that pushback, I would imagine, which was some tension there. It didn't allow him to go too far in either direction. And maybe he still had people on the right who didn't like him and criticized what he was saying, and it was there was a good tension to try and keep him balanced. But as he progressed and as he kind of followed the thread and kept speaking about kind of the liberal progressive issues, that tension started to fall away. It's not that the left didn't still take issue with him, but he became somewhat of like a known entity. He wasn't one of them anymore, so the tension wasn't the same, arguably. And on the other side, you can imagine where his audience started to like what he was saying. They started to expect what he was saying. It gave them a comfort. It gave them that same consistency, right? Their minds are pulling them the same way. That like, oh, okay, I know what this is now. I know we don't like, super progressives. I know we don't like socialism. I know we don't want our freedoms limited. We don't like censorship. We don't like big tech, right? Certain things like that, or at least we're skeptical of them. That's what we are. I got the blueprint. I got the playbook. We're good. And because of that, that tension went away. Right? You can almost think of it in terms of, if you're Tim Pool or anybody really, you want to maintain that tension, and with an audience like that, you almost want to constantly be flipping it on them, not arbitrarily, not like disingenuously, but because it's good hygiene for yourself, and you're constantly challenging yourself with that same healthy tension. You apply it to them. So maybe there's an article or a speaker who's talking about socialism where you actually see, I'm making it up, but you see some positives in it. And you see like, oh, that's interesting. I hadn't thought of it that way. Or maybe there's a certain news story or case or something that breaks that is very ripe for us to just fall into our places of left and right and what we question and what we value, but you do it the other way. And you see some other aspect to it and you explore it in that way. You could imagine that same audience getting a little bit annoyed and going like, what's going on with this guy? In the example, what's going on with Tim Pool? I thought we had something here. I thought we knew what this was. Why are you doing this? Why are you changing this on me? And that's that healthy tension coming back in. That's that healthy tension kicking in to ensure that you don't go too far, that you don't get too comfortable and fall into that groove, and you get back to the things that started you on the thread initially, right? The objectivity, the kind of looking to follow the logical, the mathematical logic, trying to truly understand and empathize with others. Ultimately, that objective truth searching that we should always be aspiring for, you can get back to that, but only with that healthy tension. That's the sign. That's the thing you need to always be looking for, I think, and ensuring that's helping to keep you kind of on track.